Morning all, how are you doing? All good, hopefully. I've just taken a second position on the Aussie dollar Swiss short. Where's my pen gone? There it is. So obviously that position that we took yesterday, or I took yesterday, up at the highs. So we were looking for this lower market structure to form, which it did. We had a lovely 4-hour candle Aussie Swiss yesterday, which pulled back nicely, 50% into the propulsion gap. And it's starting to go short again. So I've put a second entry underneath this low, which is yesterday's low, which has just been taken up now. So I've got 2 positions short, just bought my average down on that, looking for a drop down into this accumulation. Moved my TP down. My TP was originally here, but if this holds, there's a very high probability, obviously, of us putting in a lower low. So I've moved TP on that position down to there. I'll decide on the TP of this position depending on what happens down here. So so just added another position onto that. I've added a long position on the DAX. A couple of longs on the DAX this morning with stops below these lows. We had there's no gap this morning, but obviously we had a big drop down yesterday, big down day. We put in a lovely reversal at end of day and pulled back, and we've pushed back up again from that low. So at the moment we are potentially putting in a sort of descending wedge pattern, but I've got a feeling we're going to come up and retest this area this morning, and then potentially leg down from that. So I'm trying a cheeky little long this morning, back up into this accumulation. Seems like a good play, and I've given it plenty of room. So there's 1% risk on the trade. Got 2 positions on, and see if we can get that move up to there this morning. What else have I got on? Euro CAD short. This still hasn't gone anywhere. So in this one, obviously from Friday, when we pulled up into this gap, it's not gone anywhere. So I'm still in it short. Got 2 positions on. I've just been fluctuating between being a bit in profit, being break even, being a bit in profit, being break even. I'm a bit in profit at the moment. I'm just going to target these lows at the moment because it can't decide where it wants to go, and I'm worried about this big strong move up acting as support. So if we break down below yesterday's low today, what I'm going to do is move stops to break even on it, just in case it wants to fly for any reason. I don't see why it would, because the CAD is still powering up, the euro is still powering down. So there's no real reason why this shouldn't go down. It's just not going down. So I just don't trust it. So I'm going to break even it if we can get down into the gap today. Selling coming in on the DAX and all indices at the moment. Market's opening in 4. We'll have a look at all the FX pairs. Morning Andy, morning Harry, morning Diamond, Burke, Ashley. Just curious what gold will do today. So am I. Well, I'm not actually, because I don't trade it, but no idea. I don't know what gold will do today. It's a mystery gold at the moment. I mean, it's obviously bearish, has been for weeks, but has these big crazy days. Just stopping out on my funded account. I've got the positions on there. I've got it at break even at the moment on the funded account, just in case it flies down. I've got 7.5 lots on it, so I'm not taking risk on it. I'm stopped out. So we've got some selling coming in at the DAX, on the DAX pre-open. I had my average there, so I've just stopped out at break even on it. I'm going to add a buy stop above these highs So if we break back above those highs this morning at the open, I'm going to go long again. Morning, Peter. Morning, Neo. Yeah, I don't know, gold. It's a short. The short was yesterday. Just I don't know. It's just a mess. It literally, you flip a coin on it. You've got as much chance at the moment. Gold is just it's flying all over the place. It's not really got any directional bias. We've gone from a month and a half accumulation to a price discovery back down here, which we've now in our second week of accumulation on. I've no idea. It's going up and down. All you can do with this is try and take trades at the highs and the lows, and assume it's going to be some kind of accumulation, wide and untidy, I would say. So having a quick look at the DAX before the open on the daily. So huge down day yesterday, akin to that. Looking today for a similar sort of move, some kind of pullback, which is why I'm obviously playing this long. It may come down and take out yesterday's low. If it does, I'm out. If it comes out and takes that out and then pushes back up again, I'm back in. But I'm looking initially for a fly up to mid-range on yesterday's candle. So looking for a similar sort of move to this, where we're pushing up and retracing halfway through the candle, which is what we tend to do a lot of the time after a big down day. Obviously, there's every opportunity for it to push down and take out the lows first, which is quite possible, and it looks like that's what's doing at the minute. But yeah, after a day like that on the indices, I'll be looking for some kind of retracement. Interestingly enough, that control candle, we still were not interested. We are right down at the lows at the moment. We're in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th day of accumulation on the Nasdaq. Same on the S&P, pretty much. So no direction at the moment. It's all utter confusion. I'm just taking another long down here. I'm adding to a loser here, but I'm not putting full risk on this one. I'm reducing risk. They may well come down and take this out, and if so, I'm out. But 7.5 lots on this crazy gold. No, not on gold. I don't trade gold. I've got 7.5 lots on DAX. God no. Wouldn't pay anything on gold. Gold is a confusion to me. It's not a confusion to me. It's just it just bites me in the backside every time I trade it, so I don't trade it. I had an amazing day yesterday. Banks, excuse me, $1,331 yesterday. Amazing day. So that's the plan on indices. Whether or not we get these lows taken out, we will find out this morning. I suspect if they're going to do it, they're going to do it straight away. And then we'll be looking for some kind of pullback after that, potentially. But we will see. Obviously, there is the option for them to just tank from here, which is another option, obviously. The market is bearish. It's just after that amount of movement, that amount of selling off, it's rare that you get a continuation day. If you look at when we get big days like that, I mean, they don't happen often when we get these massive days. But when you get these massive days, virtually always the following day is some kind of pullback or pause bar. So pullback, 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 pause. Looking for a pullback or a pause. Yeah, market can't sustain that amount of selling for multi-days. Just doesn't have the legs in it usually. So obviously anything can happen, but statistically we're looking for longs today. Although the DAX doesn't really seem to be doing anything at the open. We've had a push down, but we're not. Even my MT4's frozen, or the market's frozen. No, the market's frozen. It's just not doing anything. It's all gone quiet. I didn't bank that much, but had a good day too. Cool. Yeah, it's a good day. It's pretty readable. Everything was pretty readable yesterday and just worked. So. So yeah, so I'm just watching. Everything's starting to reject at the lows at the minute. Oh Jesus! I thought my this MT4 froze then. But we're getting some rejection down at the lows on all the indices. A little bit of buying coming in across the board. Adding one more long. On the other account, this one I've already got it on already. Uh, 5 seconds to close. So nice, nice bullish opening range gone in. So we'll see what they do with this, whether we can get a push up at the open. We'll go through all the FX pairs in a minute and have a look at where we are with everything FX wise. What happened with the pound yesterday on the rates? Obviously, huge collapse on the pound. Traded that yesterday, which is where I made the vast majority of my money. And then I traded a little pullback on the indices as well yesterday after that massive drop. Didn't manage to get on anything short on the indices yesterday, unfortunately. We go, just taking out the opening range low. That was a fake move. Damn, that means I'm going to get stopped out on this. Looks like they're going for yesterday's low. Which is not that. That's yesterday's low. God, come on, put that. God, MT4, you are utterly useless. Drawing tools in MT4 are just pitiful. Just so difficult to use. Morning, Stevie. Hovering around the lows. It's not a lot of anything coming in. Obviously, the other thing you need to bear in mind today, same as yesterday, is obviously today's non-farm payroll. So as yesterday, we'll get an initial move and then we'll probably go into an accumulation until non-farm. So whatever move they put in at the open will probably be fairly short-lived, maybe half an hour, 3/4 of an hour or so. And then after that move, we'll go into an accumulation period because we got non-farm this afternoon. So they won't want to put a lot of money in until non-farm, then it'll all get moved around. There's no volume coming in at all. It's dead. Nada. Right, okay. Well, let's have a look at what we've got coming on today. So, it's Friday, non-farm payroll day. So, 1:30, we've got the CAD unemployment rates, obviously released at the same time as the US. So, non-farm employment, obviously non-farm payroll is a big market-moving event. It's not a fundamental event, so it's a reaction, what we call a reactionary event. So these figures are a reaction to monetary policy, not something that guides monetary policy. So they have no long-term impact on what will happen to monetary policy or where a currency is likely to go. But they use it for some unknown reason to dump loads of orders into the market. Everybody loves to trade non-farm payroll. The markets take full advantage of everybody putting their liquidity into the market. They take it all away. So non-farm, typically we tend to see lots of whipsaw, very large movements across the board. But typically non-farm is either, depending on what happens with monetary policy before non-farm, they either tend to obviously whipsaw, so they'll take out a high or a low. So at the moment where we are, let's say we stay in an accumulation like that before non-farm payroll, they will likely take out the highs, then come back down and take out the lows, or they'll take out the lows, or they'll reach for a level of liquidity, then they'll pop up and take out the highs, then they'll bring it back to the mean. And that's typically what we tend to see. A whipsaw is basically everybody just getting taken out, like I'm about to do on the DAX. So all this selling's just started to come in, which has vanished again. Get little flurries of selling orders, and then it all stops. So we're just approaching yesterday's low. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong chart. I know I'm looking at the chart on my other platform. Just approaching yesterday's low. Giving commentary on what I'm seeing, but not showing you. So that's yesterday's low. So we'll see what we get down there. See if they're just going to take some liquidity and go. But it looks like it's continuing to sell off. So not a good start to the morning. Just taking another speculative long down there with a super tight stop. Either that is going to work or it's going to cost me virtually nothing. So it's worth a punt. What was I talking about? Yeah, non-farm payroll, basically. So that's typically what we tend to see in non-farm payroll. With the rate increase and what happened with the US dollar. So the US dollar, obviously on the rate increase, we had that massive dump. They came back down, took out the liquidity down here, and then they've reversed the entire thing yesterday. We had just had a massive move. Got out of these at break even. I'm glad I did. Because this thing just obviously shot straight back up again. So the pullback I was expecting to see on the US dollar off the back of that move did not happen. We haven't had a pullback. This is it. If that's a profit take move, they haven't finished with it. So I get the feeling yesterday was a liquidity run. We had this big, strong push down. When this happened, and then we had this move here. Let me just show you what it is. We had this move, obviously, which I traded that short on Wednesday. A lot of people will have traded that short and be holding positions as I was on it. I got out at break even on it. We then had pullback 50% of that move, and then we started some bearish price action. A lot of people will have entered short on that, thinking that is going to be the second leg down, and their stops would have gone above the highs. Yesterday took all that liquidity out, and today I suspect we'll see an accumulation until non-farm. So basically all they've done yesterday was entice everybody short on Wednesday, take out their liquidity there. Now everybody that has seen a stop hunt happening will have got in short and put their liquidity up here. So the obvious non-farm payroll move today is to take the liquidity out and drop. So that is what I suspect will happen today. We will see non-farm drive US dollar down today, but not before they've taken out that liquidity. The other option is they will drive it down to find liquidity from buyers sitting there and propel it higher. So US dollar is a long. Obviously, we can see US dollar is a long. So those are the two plays today. No one knows which way it's going to go or what they're going to do with it on non-farm payroll. You just have to plan. So if you see them take that first, I would be looking for shorts using stops. If you see them reach down for liquidity, I would go long using stops, depending on how far they go. There's two levels, obviously. There's an obvious level there. Everybody that got in long yesterday, their liquidity is sitting under there now. That was a liquidity run. Yeah. So one of two things is going to happen. They're either going to bounce off of that or that to go long, or if they want to go short today, they're going to take it up there and then they're going to short it. So those are the plays, basically. Whichever happens, you just basically need to watch non-farm, be fast, see what happens, and then execute your plan. We don't know what the plan is. They don't, nobody knows what it is. There's 8 banks all vying for exactly the same liquidity. They will all drive it wherever they want to drive it. So that's the play. There's no liquidity coming in on the indices at all. Stop hunt complete. Double bottom gone. Everybody that's entered long yesterday dead. Got that position on right at the lows there. Looks lovely. So let's see if we can get that 50% pullback on yesterday's move. So that's the news. Obviously, be aware. 1:30. I'll be watching that. Might try and do a live session on it actually, if anybody's around. Just going to trade non-farm and just see if we can scalp non-farm. So I might come on about 20 past 1 and just see if we can trade that, assuming we're going to get some liquidity. It's very rare we don't on non-farm. Non-farm is pretty much always liquid. But occasionally we get them where you don't get a lot of movement. So right. So ADRs, we've got a lot of weekly range hits based off of the pound. So the pound rates yesterday went up to 1. There were 3 votes to increase to 1.25. So a third of the MPC voted to increase rates further. But the rates came out as 1%, which means that we will probably see at least a 0.5% hike on the next rate increase. So it's getting bigger and faster. We're forecasting 10% inflation moving forward in the UK. It's not good. It's not looking good from a monetary perspective. So obviously with all the pounds yesterday, we had a nice big drop. The vast majority, we're saying the vast majority, some of them retraced. Obviously not going well for the pound this morning. So the Aussies obviously beat them back, but everything else is negative. I really want to long the pound just as a short-term move back up into these moves here, basically the propulsion move off of the rate announcement. So I shorted it yesterday. I shorted this all the way from here and I held it down to here. I got taken out on this pullback. This was where I was expecting us to get a pullback started, and this morning they have just tanked it again. So obviously we're very extended on the pound pairs. We're extended on the weekly ranges. I wouldn't be surprised if we've hit any monthlies. Yeah, pound odd has already hit the monthly range. We're on the 6th of the month. It's hit its monthly. It's done its monthly range already. Exceeded its monthly range. So these are all very, very extended, but obviously you are standing in front of a freight train when you're trying to long this. So they are difficult to get into, because if you take a reversal on them, you're going to get either your reversal is, as in this case on the pound US dollar, is going to be quite a way away from price because of the severity of the drops, or you're going to get in on nice little tight ones and you're going to get stopped out. So they're difficult to get into, but when you do get a long that works, you're going to get a good ADR out of it, I would imagine. It's just very, very difficult to get into any of these at the moment. So they're nice little long plays. We've just done a liquidity run this morning and we're starting to pull back, but this could well be just another leg down. So I'm not going to trade these at the moment, the pounds. I would rather, I think, wait for these pullbacks to happen and then look for short opportunities on them. That's the safest sort of play. Pound yen I'm not going to trade. Something like pound Swiss. So that's kind of where I'm sort of sitting at the moment. So I'm just watching the indices. They're not looking particularly healthy at the minute. We're closing within a bit of an indecision candle on the DAX. Which tends to be start of a reversal a lot of the time. So just wait for this candle to close. Just see where this closes. Oh, that's good. A little bit of buying just came in there. Not a lot. Yeah, so if there's a few of you around that want to do non-farm, that's fine. We'll do non-farm this afternoon. Might not stay on for long. Just trade it for half an hour, maybe. Just watch it. It's good fun to watch non-farm, if anything else. Just, seeing the market go mental and seeing everybody getting chewed up. But it's also a very good opportunity for making money if you get it right. Same as yesterday with the pound. Yeah, I got the pound right, the pound US dollar right yesterday. If you get those right, you can make a lot of money. I made 2% in literally 20 minutes yesterday. If you can get the direction right, i.e. guess the direction right, it's like red or black in a casino. We don't know which way they're going to go. They leave clues, but you don't know which way they're going to go. So if you can get it right, you've got a good chance of getting in. I've just realised I've got trailing stops turned on. I put those on yesterday. So I've just stopped out in one of those positions. God. Which isn't a bad thing because it's going down. But yeah, so just got stopped out on that. Unnecessarily. Right, so yeah, so basically the pound obviously is a short. I think pound is going to be a short for a while. It's very devalued at the moment. Obviously, pound US dollar. We've got a long way to drop. It's very difficult to pick a spot for a reversal on this pound US dollar at the moment. This is the third week down, and it's a big old drop. We are massively extended on the daily on the RSI. We had this obviously extension last week. We flagged and now we're dropping again. So this is the first leg down. This is kind of the accumulation off of that. Second leg down. This is the third leg. So I would suspect wherever we get to at the end of this leg, and not necessarily ending this week, probably next week, we were going to get some kind of pullback on it. It's very difficult to pick a low. When you're looking at weekly charts, it's got nothing on the daily really we can use as a reference. So when you're going up to the weekly charts, as you can see, support and resistance on the weekly is a very broad, wide thing. It's a massive amount of movement. So, this level of support down here reacted there. So literally anywhere in that range, if we can get down. So if we, let's say, for example, we get to 150 ADR today on the pound US dollar, if it makes it down to that sort of range, that I would be interested in a long position, because after 3 weeks solid down like we've just had, we're going to get a pullback. Yeah, the market will find it very difficult to sustain that sort of movement without having a rest. Yeah, it's very difficult. 3 weeks down. I mean, this is obviously COVID, which is a little bit different, but any sort of massive movement like that, we always get some kind of pullback off of it. This is 3 weeks solid. We're going to get a pullback. Where it's going to start to pull back from, I don't know. You could start building along down here and stop it out at sort of 200 ADR. And you've got a very high probability of getting that into the money. But at the moment, because of the rate announcement yesterday, I don't think we've finished this move to the downside just yet. I think we've got a little bit more movement. So ADR today, I think, on the pound US dollar is a very good opportunity to start buying it up. If we can get down to ADR, 150 ADR, anywhere down there, I think that's where you want to start looking. So yeah, looking good on that. All these pounds obviously are very, very, very extended. There's no ADRs hit today. Hourlies, we've got nothing. We're all flat. And the 4 hours, we've got a couple. We'll have a look at those. Euro Swiss, that's just pulled off the highs, missed it. So shorts on the euros. Obviously, I'm short on the Euro CAD at the minute. Just got gathered up into that position. It's pulling back a little bit. So Euro Swiss, obviously, that's moved down. Euro Pound, that's still extended. Euro Pound's a very difficult one at the minute to trade. We're just taking out some highs. These are both weak currencies at the moment. Obviously, this is why we're seeing this. Obviously, with the pound's weakness, the euro's taking advantage of that by moving up. But any kind of strength on the pound starting to show through, this is going to come down again. I don't really see us getting very far. This is the sort of movement you're probably going to find. It's a week. If you get into something, you're not going to get out of it for a week because it's just not moving fast enough to make a load of money quickly on it. But I would look for short opportunities on lower time frames. So Audi's out of the question because of the propulsion gap. And in fact, that's a good thing to fade. We're likely we're going to fade that at some point very soon. But yeah, it's very difficult to get into anything after moves like that. So you've just got to kind of jump in with both feet. This isn't my best pair to trade, I don't think, the Euro Pound. It is extended on the 4 hour. And we will get a pullback of some description on it. Quite what that pullback will be, I'd be looking very seriously at this level here as the maximum we would get back down to. Because I think once the pound puts its pullback in, it'll go off very, very quick. Jesus, US dollar Swiss coming down like a steam train this morning. So why are we not getting buying on the indices? Is this the Swiss franc? Yes, this is the Swiss franc powering up at the minute. Thank you very much, Swiss franc. Aussie dollar Swiss going nicely. So Aussie dollar Swiss, as I say, target one, I moved. This was my initial target was here, so I would have had that. But that's where I'm now targeting on the Aussie Swiss. Second target, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what happens when we get down there. These indices are really selling off. All the indices are just retesting lows. God, you can't see anything on that. So we're just retesting these lows at the minute, seeing if we can get a little bit lower. just in accumulation, 20 minutes now, haven't gone anywhere. So difficult. So I just made a profit on that one, didn't I? Yeah, that'll do. Because I had that trailing stop on. That position that I stopped out on was the one that I took down at these lows. Starting to sell. We're not actually making any headway. I mean, basically all we're doing is we're selling into support at the minute. There's a lot of absorption going on here. As we see, we sold it hard into this, bounced back up. We've sold into it again, absorbed it. We just sold again, which has all been absorbed. So there's a lot of buying sitting down here. The sellers are trying hard to get through it, but they're struggling. So it may hold this low. I suspect there's a lot of people potentially trying to play this back up, seeing the same thing as everybody sees the same thing, don't they? Everybody's seeing a massive sell-off, which is typically followed by a pullback. So it's hopefully everybody's just buying the lows and supporting it, but we'll see. Right, so 4 hours we were talking about, weren't we? Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Too many charts. Euro pound, don't really like. I like it as a short, but I don't like it enough. Pound CAD, very nicely extended to the downside, as I say. So all of these, all of these basically are nice little opportunities for longs, just pushing down again on the index. But I think, as I say, I think we probably got a little bit more weakness on these at the moment, on all of these. So I would want it to push down and take out the lows. Now we've had this little bit of a pullback. There's too much liquidity sitting down there, I think, for the market to ignore. But, it's got to turn at some point. So it could well just turn now. I'm out on the DAX. Right, so that's the lows taken. So just watch the DAX. That was a costly morning. Right, so those lows are now properly broken, selling through them quite hard now. So just going to wait for some bullish price action down here. So plotting it out on the daily. Yeah, visualize this type of price action. Yeah. So what we're looking for is a wick. And then some kind of bullish candle, which is green. Yeah, so we are now forming this wick. So I'm looking for it to push back up there. So this is where we need to be paying attention to the low of the day potentially going in somewhere down here. So yeah, pound CAD, as I say, I think we've got a little bit more movement on this. This is massively extended on the, look at this on the daily. Yeah, we've been pretty much embedded. We've been embedded below 40, but pretty much embedded below 30 for weeks on this. Just it's so difficult to want to long it. At some point it is going to end, but it's trying to find the lows, which is very, very difficult with a lot of this stuff because we haven't got the daily support to go on. We tried this daily support here, which worked. I got the bounce, I made the profit, and then it collapsed straight through it. So we just tapped into this 157,700 level, which is now retesting back down at these lows here, and then we've got another low there. So again, 150 ADR today if we can get a push down to 150 ADR on pound CAD and pound US dollar, those are real end of days like levels where we should start to see some kind of bounce coming through. So watch the pound today. If we get a big strong sell-off on the pound today before non-farm payroll, then yeah, that'd be a good one. If non-farm payroll takes it down to 150 ADR, again, good opportunity to start buying it up. Pound US dollar, we've looked at that one already. So same, 150 is where I'm interested. I'm going to set a load of alerts actually on these down there. So if we start approaching those levels, I'm going to start looking to get in. They're obviously high risk, very high risk trades, but potentially high risk, high reward as well, because we've got non-farm payroll. If they do a stop hunt high, remember we were talking about the potential of what they're going to do today. If they stop hunt high on US dollar Swiss, what's going to happen to the pound US dollar? It's going down. If that stop hunt high drives the pound US dollar down to 150 ADR, and then we assume they're going to stop hunt high and drop, pound US dollar is going to pump. So it's just exactly where we want to be getting in. So that's all we've got on those at the moment, and we'll whiz through all the FX pairs and have a look through everything. Really dropping on DAX. So last time we dropped 90 odd points, pretty much exactly where we are now. Not quite sure what that line is. I've just adjusted, but I've screwed it up, whatever it was. Let's go with that. So watching for price action basically down here. See if we get any bullish price action coming in. Just watch each candle and look for potential longs here. Sorry, I've just been ignoring what you've been saying in chat. Pound is almost even money with the US dollar. It's quite a way away from that. I mean, it's not. Have we ever been there? We've never been there, have we? We may have been there at some point in the past. Not on my charts, though, going back to 1999. We've never been even money. Lowest we've been in the last sort of 20 years has been 114, 115, 114 basically was the lowest we've ever had. So, you know, we're $10 off of it. So I don't think we're getting anywhere near that. Certainly not looking good, is it? What of the stairway to heaven? US dollar yen pulling back now. Heavy volatile moves. Yeah, this is all ahead of non-farm payroll, obviously, all of this movement. So you kind of have to assume they're enticing moves in at the moment. So obviously everybody that's watching ahead of the news is going to be trading today, so they will be taking positions. So everybody that's in this, take out this high. They're looking for, if they're looking short, they're getting in now. They're placing their liquidity up there. Obviously, US dollar yen is not something that's going to happen overnight. 135. You know, they could easily do that. Before they do that, all Japan have said is they would not be concerned about seeing the yen devalue down to 135. That's all they've said. They haven't given any time indication of when they'd be happy to see that happening. Going long one on the DAX. Wide stops on this in case we get a big push down, further push down, but starting to show some signs of buying. So I mean, you don't know when it's going to happen. Don't forget, obviously, with the yen, there's two parties at play. Obviously, the US dollar we're expecting to power up. Short term could easily come down, but long term, long. Yen, long term, short. But equally, you know, in the short term, we could do whatever we want, but long term, that's what they're expecting. So could take days, could take weeks, could take a month or two. No idea, but that's where they've said they'd be happy. If you look at the rate of the US dollar yen, what we're doing in a week, well, let's look at the. We're doing 244 pips a week. Yeah. So where we are right now to 135 is 446. So if they went solid up for 2 weeks, it's going to take 2 weeks to get there, isn't it? If they do a little bit of sideways, maybe have a down week in the middle, we're looking at a month before we get to 135. If it moves at its normal average rate. So it's a long time to get there. You know, it's very steady. But we put in the odd, what's that? 300 there, you know, but then we put in a 300 back. So, you know, if we get a 200-300 back, pull back down into this support, we've got to do that again. So you've lost 2 weeks going absolutely nowhere. So while you're in hospital, Franco, you could literally go into drawdown and come back to break even and come out. You're not in hospital for 2 weeks, are you? Well, I don't know. Are you? You wanted something to hold for 2 weeks. Whether it goes into drawdown or profit, I can't tell you that. But if you want something that is likely to go in a direction, that's your puppy. Right, so let's have a quick whiz through everything and see where we are. End of week. So Aussie dollar CAD, all we've done this week is moved up and back down again. So no headway whatsoever. Aussie dollar, we've had this obviously big month down on the Aussie against the CAD. CAD's been very, very strong. We've had a little bit of Aussie dollar weakness coming through after that big push off the back of the war. Difficult one to call at the moment. We've just put in a potential peak formation low, high, and now we're looking to put in potentially a higher low down here for a move up. CAD is not showing any signs of stopping though, so I suspect this is probably a short, and that was where you should have been shorting it, and we're going to now go into potentially into a downtrend. So if we get a little bit of a pullback up into here, that might be a nice little short opportunity. If we continue to break down and put in new lows, we know that we want to be selling next time we push up. So if this breaks down here, look for a pullback into there for shorts. Aussie dollar Swiss, same thing. Aussie dollar CAD still. Aussie dollar Swiss. Obviously, I'm short on this one at the minute. Didn't get that sell limit in. Let's take that off. US indices are still selling off. The DAX is paused at the minute. So is the FTSE. So we've got continued weakness showing on the Nasdaq and the S&P, but the DAX is holding its own with the FTSE. So let's see if we can get another leg push up on that. So I'm just going to enter another long as we scale in there. So yeah, Aussie dollar Swiss, I'm already short on this one. This is one we took yesterday up here. and I've added second position short, which is now also in profit. So looking to escape one position down there, move to break even, and then let the second one run, assuming that we're going to go market structure low. But we'll see. Aussie dollar yen, not trading anything yen. No idea on the yen at the moment. It's all down to Kuroda and what he says, what happens. They did announce yesterday, like late yesterday, that they are now letting small amounts of tourists into Japan. So they're starting to open up the entry into Japan, basically, which has been closed pretty much. Small groups are allowed back in, so they're starting to bolster the tourism economy a little bit, which obviously will be good for the yen. But that's obviously at the moment. We don't know what's going to happen moving forward. So there's a lot, and this is what we've seen happening over the last month. We've seen lots of positive sentiment coming out of Japan, saying, yes, we're going to do this, yes, we're going to do that. But also then they come out and say, we're not worried though if it doesn't happen yet. These are long-term plans. So hence why we seem to be going into this sort of movement with the yen at the moment. So for the yens, the only thing I'd be interested in is taking positions down here at the moment, just because I think we are going to still weaken on the yen. But equally, we're not really going anywhere. It's one of those pairs when you get into it, you're just going to get chopped up and down, chopped up and down. So anything yen at the moment, I just steer clear of, really. Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, unless you want long term. The long term, if you're going to get into it and hold it for weeks and weeks and weeks, buy it up anywhere you like, really. But not for me at the minute. Aussie, New Zealand. Very, very strong. Be looking for long opportunities on this one. That was your last one down there. You can see I took a long on it, got out, just in case we were going to bounce back down again. And obviously it flew. Never mind. So looking for long opportunities, Aussie, New Zealand. Would want it to come back down first, though. Pulling back down into these highs. And then look for support bounce down there somewhere. Aussie US short because of the US dollar strength. This is holding up very, very nicely at the moment down here. We had this big push, so at the moment I'm looking for that kind of movement. We had this weakness off the back of the news. I don't suspect that's going to hold, and we should be looking for more shorts on this. We are coming back down into potential support areas as well. There's going to be money sitting down here looking to go long, so it's going to be a fairly choppy ride down here, I think. So I'd like to get in short when we get extended up there. So obviously when we had that short opportunity there, that's what I'll be looking for on that one. CAD Swiss, no idea on this. Swissie's not really giving any clues as to long, short or indifferent at the minute. CAD is very strong, obviously, off the back of oil. So continuation longs. It's just trying to get into this thing. The best thing to do, I think, at the moment is watch the hourlies on a lot of these and see if you're not even going to get pullbacks on those. We haven't had a pullback on this for weeks. Accumulations. Yeah, look for propulsion gap bounces. Really, I think is all you can do with this sort of stuff at the minute. Support, so long it out of there. Potentially it could fall back down and we could look for longs there, but equally we could go into a choppy range on it, could we? It's buying starting to show across all indices. Second long. CAD yen, same as the others. Guess is as good as mine. It's obviously a long because the CAD's a long and the yen is a short, but trying to get into it. That was your entry back down there. it's just that it's hard. We've had 3 weeks basically where we've we're contracting at the minute a little bit here. So I'd be looking for a breakout long. It'd be nice if we pulled back down and retested this reversal alert here, and just came back down and sort of had another go at this level. So 125 ADR today, but yeah, it's hard to get into that. Swiss yen double bottomed. So this is actually not a bad looking one. The problem with the Swissy is there's no strength in it. So we're looking for basically yen weakness to be pushed around. So we're looking for all the other currencies to be pushed around. Pushing the yen around. So the yen is weak. If the pound strengthens, the pound yen goes up. If the US strengthens, the US yen goes up. The yen sits there and does nothing and gets pushed around. The Swissy's not doing anything at the minute. So therefore, it's difficult to know when this is going to move, because normally we get these flurries of activity on the Swiss franc, which we're not seeing at the moment. But that's a nice looking opportunity for a long. It's very tempting, that one, actually, to be honest. We are really holding that level nicely. We are also putting in lower highs. So this is a nice looking long opportunity where we are now on the Swiss yen. I just don't really want to trade the yen, but I suppose from a risk reward perspective, you could look at sort of something like 90. I mean, if it breaks down below these lows, you're wrong, basically, and it's likely to drop further. So looks like a pretty good risk reward opportunity for me on that one. Might have a quick go on that one. It's yen, isn't it? I think I'm getting bigger than that. That'll do. So looking for a sort of just over 2 to 1. Going to assume that these lower highs are going to continue, and we're going to continue to contract. So somewhere around there. But I'll just play that by ear and see what happens. We may well get movement on this, obviously, this afternoon. Oh, come on, Dax. What are you doing? Hopefully we're just going to put in some kind of W down here. So yeah, Swiss yen. Like that for a long. So taking an initial position on that one. I say initial, it's only going to be one. I'm not going to get into multiples on it. I might actually do it into a second one down there. I'll put a second one on down there. Same stop. So tiny risk on that one, that second position. But just see if they do a liquidity run of the lows. So we've just done this level. So be a lot of longs like me got in on that, looking at this support. They may come and take their liquidity out, in which case we're getting with the second position and take it from there. Euros. So all the euros are shorts. Just coming up to my sell limit on the euro odd. About to get triggered in on that one. So we got this hideous reversal alert on this, which is just, the thing's been chopping after this big, strong move. I'm still short the euro, regardless. So I'm looking basically for euro pullbacks. The problem with the euro and pullbacks is it's very difficult to get in. You are getting RSI extensions But the vast majority of the time when we're getting RSI extensions, they're not getting above the 70 level. They're kind of getting up to the 60s and dropping from there a lot of the time. In fact, the Euro odd actually is a little bit different to most of the others. So, but I think if we get into an initial position there and they're going to try and take out these levels, that would be it. And then we'll get shorts. So I'm planning to scale into it up to sort of 150 ADR today, up to these highs from the previous week, from the week before last, from last week, which were taking out those highs. But we put in new market structure, high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high. This is where I'm looking to get in on this lower high, assuming we're going to continue market structure down. If not, what we're putting in is a low, a high, a lower high, a higher low, and then a higher high up there to take out that liquidity. So that is where I would look for the short to start and have a stop up there somewhere. So scaling in 2 or 3 positions. If we get up to this sort of level, I'm out. If we break this level here, we're coming all the way back up. So, but I'm still short Euro. Nice little flurry on Nasdaq there. So hopefully we'll get some kind of little pullback into there and then break another leg and break back above here. Oh, it's meant to be there. I've got 3 positions already on my other account, so I'm not adding another one on that because I've got 3 already. Where was I? Yes, Euros shorts, Euro odd, Euro CAD. Obviously, I'm short on this one already. Again, this is not going anywhere this week. This is where we opened this week. This is where we are now. I've been stuck in this for a week, not going anywhere. Very orderly. Canadian dollar very strong. Euro very weak. I've got these 2 positions on. If we pull up higher, I'll get in again. I'll probably not go more than 3 on it, because we're basically bouncing off of this resistance at the moment. Next resistance is here, and then next resistance is there. This is the next main resistance that we've been supportive at. So this is kind of the key level, I think. So that's where my next position would be, somewhere around 150, 175 ADR. We should get a bounce back off of that. If we don't get that move off of that, obviously this is where we're coming back up to. So, just waiting for the Canadian dollar to strengthen up a little bit more. And obviously the euro is not doing anything. So just about to get. I've got 3 minutes left. We're approaching a bullish engulfing on the DAX on the 15-minute. Right, Euro Swiss. So Euro Swiss, this obviously is the more difficult one to trade. Moving average 72 sideways. We're kind of sideways on 24 as well. Euro and the Swiss, both Eurozone, both move very similarly together. The Swiss franc is not powering up at the minute, which is what's caused... the Swiss franc is what's been in control of this for a while. Since the war kicked in, the Swiss franc's not had that strength to continue this move down. So this is a very difficult one to trade at the moment. Highs and lows, really, look at it to be fairly range bound. Any highs you can get in short. We've got a nice zone coming up here, which I've got indicated on the chart. Let me just extend that across. going to find it difficult to grab that. See, this is the problem with MT4 drawing tools. Trying to grab something is virtually impossible if it overlaps something else. Oh my God, am I going to find the rectangle in there? No. So yeah, anyway, you can see, let's draw another one. I just want to duplicate that really, but anyway. Something like that. Christ. If there's one thing I would change about MT4 and MT5, it's the drawing tools. So yeah, we've just come out of that level very aggressively. We're pulling back into it a little bit now, but this is where I would look for another short. So if you want to get into a euro short, this is not a bad example at the moment. If you look at it on the 4 hour, this area here, we've bounced around off of this area and we've been balanced in it, and then we've bounced off of it again, we've bounced off of it again, we've slammed through it, we've come back, accumulated, mucked about, accumulated, shot off, and then we left that zone around alone for a while as we slammed through it and put the big move towards the war in. And then we came back into there, respected it again. It's just an area that price is attracted to. This it's 104 basically. Doesn't mean it's going to hold, but as we're bearish euro and the Swiss has got nothing at the moment, it makes logical sense that that is where we're going to find our resistance, where we found it weeks and weeks and weeks ago, okay, back in March. So yeah, nice looking short opportunity. We've pulled back nicely. So if you look at this on M15, you've had a reversal alert and you've retested it. We're just coming back up into this accumulation here before we push down. So again, retesting that. This is perfect to get into a short now. Stop above there, you're pretty safe. If it breaks up above that, you probably don't want to be in it. So getting in short right now on this one with a stop up here is a good shot, I think. So yeah, good looking short opportunity there. Diamond, I found it easier to select if you click on one of the rectangles corner and then drag it from the corners. Yeah, this is the problem. If I try and select the corner of this rectangle, yeah, which ends here, because there's a line on top, it automatically selects the line. It won't let me select the corner of the rectangle. That one I got because it was slightly lower than the line. But look, I can't. Now I can. That's the thing you got to do, isn't it? Move the rectangle out the way, basically. Everything else is deselected, isn't it? Yeah. And put that back. It's just awkward, isn't it? So yeah, Euro Swiss, lovely little area. Fairly nice rejection wicks in the zone. Nice indecision candle. So we've got a 3-bar reversal going in right now. Obviously we've got another hour left on this candle, but it looks good for shorts. Euro pound, same thing. I'm going to whiz through these, or euros. Euro pound, sideways mess. It's flying at the moment because of the pound weakness, but choppy mess. Range bound, look for highs and lows. We've just broken out to new highs. At some point this is going to come back down again. The pound is going to power up slightly. Euro yen, not interested in this one. Sideways, don't know on the yen. Euro New Zealand, again, nice looking short. We have pushed up above the highs here. DAX. Indices look like they may be setting up for another leg down. A little bit of bear action coming in. Just monitoring those. So we're pushing up at the moment. This is the area that I'm interested in here on Euro New Zealand. If we can get back up into this area, so up to 100% ADR, that's where I'll be interested in shorts, because we're going to find there's an accumulation there that lasted for about 2 months. Area balance. We were very, very happy trading there. It's going to take a lot to slam through that. So if we can push up into that area, that'd be a lovely area for shorts. and euro US dollar. Wait for the US dollar next leg to drop this down. I can't see it getting here. So when you short it is up to you. Difficult to tell. We could have, one of these kind of months coming up where we've had the US dollar rates and they sort of sideways it for a little bit. But if that's going to happen, you're going to get structure like this. So if you get in short and you scale into it, you just have to wait for that to happen. And then it might go long again a bit and then get in short again. One of those will just go like that and we'll get the next leg. Euro pound has hit its monthly range as well. So still a lot of weakness on the pound by the sounds of things. Speaking of the pounds, all shorts. Double bottomed on this Aussie because we've had the Aussie being weak, but and the same with the New Zealand. These are both the same thing. I prefer the odd because the Australian economy is bigger, and when this starts to power up, we'll get more movement off of it. Again, looking for this area 175 as a nice bounce point if we can get up to there. Failing that, there's an awful lot of chop in there for us to find some resistance at some point. But yeah, shorts on it. I don't really know when to get into this. It's very difficult to trade this at the minute. It's got mixed signals, isn't it? Long one more DAX. Reason for that is 15-minute chart. So we've got double rejection wicks. We've just retraced that entire move and pushed back up again. What was I down? 1.5, wasn't I? So 1 sec, 387. Sorry, I'm just calculating stuff in my head. Takes ages. Clearly, I've spent too much time struggling against the charts drawing tools. Yeah, as we all have. It's good. It's good, but it's yeah. It's I'm lazy. I don't want to move it out of the way. I want to double click on that, and then I want to double click somewhere else, and it go, oh, maybe you meant to double click this one because you've already double clicked that one, but it's not that intelligent. There's no reason it should be, I suppose, is there? So yeah, pound odd, very difficult to get into at the minute. Somewhere in this drop, we are going to pull back. So for me, this one, I would be looking for fib measurements on it. We're up at the 38. If it's going to be a shallow pullback, we kind of done it. We haven't had a reversal. It's holding nicely. Failing that 50 zone is a very, very strong resistance. This whole area of balance here, whole area of balance and accumulation there. This whole area here is strong. If we break back up into the 61.8, we're just coming into chop. And if we've got all the way up there, highly likely that's where we're going to get the bounce. So if you wanted to, you could take the next reversal alert short on this, on M15, which we just had, literally just had. If obviously this breaks up and takes out yesterday's high, this reversal alert will be invalidated and we will start the reversal from the same place basically. So you'll get in the same spot anyway. It's not far to 50. 61.8 is 125 today. So literally today you could get one entry. You could get a second and a third if we can get a push on the pound. I can't see it, but you never know. So Sorry, just got to take some profit on my funded account. Oh, shall I? We're just pushing up into this accumulation, this balance area at the minute. We're likely to find a lot of resistance here. This whole area. I'm just closing one out on my other account here. I'll just close one out here as well. We're likely to get a pullback out of here. Hopefully we'll just be looking at a pullback and second leg. So I'm just taking a little bit off. Yes, do live NFP Pixel. Yep, I will do. That's a very delayed comment. How long's your lag? I was talking about doing that about half an hour ago. It's almost like you're watching the replay. Yeah, so pound odd. That looks good for short. So the reason I'm not taking a lot of these, I'm already short euro, and I've got trades on this stuff. So I'm not taking, because I don't over leverage. I don't over expose myself to single currencies. Just pointing out the potential setups to take what you want. So yeah, that looks good for a retracement. Pound CAD. Very strong, very hard to get into this one. Short. Looking at the daily, this is where I took the long last week. From there, and I got out here. We've just taken that level out. So this is a textbook. Normally, I would say this is a textbook liquidity run. Everybody, as I did, saw this low on the daily chart, took a long, and put their stops there. That's all got taken out yesterday. If it wasn't such a negative reaction on the pound, and the pound wasn't so doomed, and the CAD wasn't so strong off the back of oil, I would say this is a lovely liquidity run to go long. But the CAD is so strong and the pound is so weak at the moment. I don't think this is necessarily a liquidity run. I think this is maybe a continuation. I'd be looking for shorts. I'd be looking for pullbacks into the 24.72 area to get out somewhere around here, to get in rather, somewhere around there. I just don't think we're going to get there. So for me, I can't really see an entry into this at the minute. It's a bit of a car crash, unfortunately. Franco, on the lighter side, when I'm hooked up to monitors in hospital, I will do an experiment and trade a 15-minute candle, see if they send in the crash cart stress test. Trade a 15-minute candle. 15-minute candles are great. Filtering out a lot more chop. If you think of it, it's a third slower than an M5 chart. That's a lot. How much have I banked? I'm not trusting this DAX. The reason I'm a little bit mistrusting of this, we're not getting any buying coming in. I've got a feeling this is going to light up red hard. And we're looking at a potential pullback short. Just concerned that we haven't seen a lot of buying coming. We haven't seen this. You haven't been watching it, obviously, because it's been off the screen. But we haven't seen a lot of buying coming in here while this move's been going on, which means it's basically profit taking on sell orders, possibly, which worries me slightly. My break even is 137.64 on my other account, which is down here. So I'm just watching that, which is a 50% pullback on this move. Just being uber cautious after this move yesterday. Where are we? Pound CAD. This is obviously textbook at the minute what we're seeing for a pullback, but just every now and again you're going to get a continuation short. This is only a small one, but you never know the reasoning behind market moves. Okay, pound Swiss. Again, Swissy, pound Swiss and the euro Swiss, pretty much the same thing, week against a week, and it's just an accumulative mess. I like the pound short. If it had put in this kind of thing up here, I'd be jumping on it short, but that's where I'd like to see it get to short it. So I'm not really interested in pound Swiss. Pound yen, not really interested in because it's a yen. Pound New Zealand is the same as the pound odd. Looking for short opportunities on it. We had a much bigger pullback on this, so it's very easy to get in on a pullback on that move than it is on the New Zealand. The New Zealand is much more accumulative at the minute. We popped our head out the highs. We're not interested. We've come back down and tapped into these lows. We're bouncing at the minute. Very hard. But the 24.72 range is where I like shorting if we're going to continue our trend. So anywhere around here is good. M15, that's a mess because of the news. M5 just had a reversal alert on. It's just a bit of a mess at the minute. It's just a choppy mess. So you could literally hit the sell button anytime you like. These highs are areas of interest. So somewhere up there, if it's going to get there, is where would be good for shorting. If it's not going to get there, it's just going to put another leg in from where we are now. It's one of those ones that's difficult to trade, what I call expanding market structure. Yeah, expanding wedge. You're making new highs and then you're making new lower lows. So where we'd normally get market structure being high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, or the opposite. When you get it sort of going like this, it's very difficult to know where to get in. In theory, we're going up there. But at some point that's going to end and turn into normal market structure. They're very, very difficult to trade. So kind of steer clear. Pound US looking for shorts. Next US dollar leg. Very hard to short this at the moment after a drop like that. Week of accumulation. So this is a reverse wick off for any of you that know wick off. There's your spring. Normally what we would see is an accumulation at the lows. Obviously we had news released at the same time, so shorts, but I would like to see it pull back. So very obvious support resistance there and here. Yeah, so these are the two levels you want to be looking at inside this propulsion gap. That would be my favorite. If we can get a pullback into there, non-farm payroll, we're looking for shorts. New Zealand dollar CAD. I'm just approaching break even on the DAX. Ever so slight selling, just nothing at the minute, really. It's flat. He says, as soon as I move it, it lights up. Look, there you go, a bit more selling coming in. Really not a flurry though, is it? It's weak today. So the New Zealand's obviously New Zealand CAD is a short, as you can see. So looking for pullbacks and shorts on it. Haven't had an opportunity to get into this ever. since this started coming down, since the CAD started powering up, you haven't had a short opportunity on it. That would have been your short, but it fell short of getting to resistance, so didn't get an opportunity. It just came down, so hard to get into. But looking for shorts on it, looking to short everything against the Canadian dollar at the minute. New Zealand dollar Swiss, mess, just a mess. You know, when you look at a chart, one of my old mentors used to say to me, if you look at a chart and it looks like a mess, just move on. And 9 times out of 10 it's got a Swiss franc in it. It's just a mess. It is lovely market structure to the downside, so looking for short opportunities on it, but it's a mess. It's a messy mover. New Zealand dollar yen, not interested in. Would be much more interested in longs rather than shorts. This level's holding beautifully all week. Right now, long, no idea what's going on with the yen. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Right, so this is approaching a very interesting little level down here. So this is... all right, this level here. So there's been multiple times, even going back, there's been multiple times where these levels here have reacted. So we've got obviously other levels as well, which I can see I've got drawn in at various points on the daily chart. We're just approaching those levels now. Anywhere down towards ADR at the moment is potentially where we're going to get a bounce on this. But it's the US dollar. I think the US dollar is still going to power up. So while we've got a lot of support here, I've got a feeling what we're going to see is bounces and drops, bounces and drops. I think we're just going to get that continued move against the US dollar. So short term, looking at low time frames, when you get down to these levels, like here, look for reversal alerts. They're either going to get a decent bounce like we got there, or they're not. But you want to be bouncing, getting out, and then assuming that we're going to get invalidated. So this is a lovely little long potentially. Bear in mind, non-farm payroll. They could go like that with it. They could go like that with it. Either way, you're going to get some movement. So, but New Zealand dollar, US dollar, long term is a short. All the US dollars are longs. Whether they're going to continue short term, don't know. I think we're going to get a short. I think this is going to pull back. Where it's going to come to is virtually impossible to say, because there's just no support and resistance. The accumulations are so difficult to spot and ever so slightly bullish the vast majority of the time. It's difficult to tell where it will come back to. So you have no reference on the way down, really, for where you're going to bounce from. If it's going to go down, I thought it was going to go down yesterday, and I thought we were going to get a pullback short. And because I remember I said yesterday, didn't I, when I got stopped out of that position? If you look at it on M15, when I got stopped out, I was like, as soon as I got stopped out, we got that bearish move, and I was like, sod's law, they've stopped me out just before they start the second leg. Luckily, I got out and they didn't. So I was expecting that movement for non-farm payroll to then potentially power it up. The fact they didn't do that, I suspect that's what we're going to get this afternoon. But, you know, nobody knows. Nobody knows. US dollar yen, not really interested. Obviously, I'm interested long up to 135, but I can't physically just can't hold things that long. So, not for me. US dollar Swiss long, already got that. Then I can scroll back. So US dollar Swiss you're talking about, going back further. I mean, where we are here, you're moving into this. Yeah, so this is where we are now. Yeah, these are the highs over from 2016 to 2019. You're moving basically into this chop. So this, all this balance here. Yeah. So this zone there and that bit there. Yeah. This, if you look at this on a probably decade market profile, you're going to see it going something like that. Yeah, we're basically trading now into an area where there is massive balance, where the market has been more than happy to trade around for a long time. At any point in here, this is why I've got no support and resistance drawn in here. There's too much of it. There's no way of anticipating where this is going to stop. It could be anywhere. We're entering a massive area of potential resistance, and it could either chop it like that, it could go like that, go like that, it could bounce out of it, push back up into it. No idea, absolutely no idea what it's going to get when we get there. We should be looking for long opportunities, I think, and buying it into that chop is just very, very difficult to do. I'd much rather wait for it to pull back and then look to buy it. But we've got the possibility, haven't we, of a proper pullback on this for a week. You know, just don't know with the US dollar. It's all very, very, very tricky at the moment, which is why I'm in and out on low time frames at the moment. Look for these sorts of reversals and get out. Use ADR. If you get to ADR, scrap it, because it's just volatile and choppy. Messy, isn't it? Latest news from the US government. There are job openings everywhere. Lowest unemployment rate in years. Non-farm payroll should be good. Non-farm payroll is always good. It's always good. But you need to look at where it's going to go. Look at non-farm payroll has got nothing to do with the news at all. What those figures come out at is completely irrelevant. If they come out the biggest positive number in the world ever, they will tank it 200% ADR. It's got nothing to do with the news. This figure is completely irrelevant. Doesn't matter. It's got no impact whatsoever on fundamentals for monetary policy. It is literally a report showing you what the impact of monetary policy has been on employment change. That's what it is. So it's basically like somebody reading you the ingredients of a cereal packet after you've eaten it. If you don't like the ingredients, there's nothing you can do about it. It means nothing. It's like you've eaten it. Tough. We've had the monetary policy shift. Whatever this comes out as, tough. I'm not going to change what the ingredients because you don't like my cereal, type of thing. So what they use it for is to start the next leg, start the next move. So whatever they're going to do with the US dollar, they will do it and use non-farm payroll as an instrument to gather liquidity for that move. So I mean, for me at the moment, based on the movement we've just had, it's a very difficult one to call a direction on, because we had that drop. I would have expected them to come and take that liquidity. They've done that liquidity. So everybody that's entered long there has got their stops there. So you've got two very obvious liquidity pools at the moment. Yeah. So everybody that is short on the US dollar and playing a breakout is sitting there with a stop order. Everybody that's long on the US dollar playing a breakout is sitting up there with a buy stop. Everybody that's short on the US dollar is sitting up there with a stop loss. Everybody that is long the US dollar is sitting with a stop loss under there. So there's just massive liquidity pools at both ends. What you'll probably see is something like that. And they have gathered every single penny in the market, and then they'll suddenly go, right, for the next hour, guys, let's go where we want to go. And that will depend on whether or not their book is better that way or that way. So if they take the market long, they'll make that. If they take the market short, they'll make that. They're going to do whatever they need to do to make the most amount of money. Because that figure means nothing. What it means to them is there's a load of retail idiots going to try and make a fortune out of this afternoon. Let's just grab their money because we need it to power the market up to move it where we want to go. So it doesn't really matter what it comes out as. If it comes out as positive, everyone going, oh, and that's what kind of makes the thing, so it comes out positive and everybody goes, oh, it's positive, go long. So what they do is they go long, they put their stops under the lows. So what the market does is go, oh, let's take it long a bit, grab that, and then we'll go long again. Everyone goes, oh, they stopped me out. It's definitely a long though because it's a positive figure. They go long again and then they go, boom, they take you out a second time. And then everyone goes, oh, it's a short. They put their stops up there and they come and grab that liquidity. That's non-farm payroll. That's what they do. They're not very nice. Put yourselves in the shoes of a banker. What would you do if you had a system that you could see where everybody's money was sitting? Yeah, they're not on our side. A little bit of buying coming through. We seem to have gone very, very lethargic on the NAS at the minute. So we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 25 minutes sideways in an accumulation. So next accumulation, we should get the next leg starting soon. Hopefully upwards. Hey, I'm one of those idiots. Yeah, everybody's one of those idiots. That's why they call us the dumb money. We are dumb. Well, you are dumb, and you're dumb until you realise what they're doing, and then you get clever. But even when you're clever, it's still, The trouble is when you've got 10 people, 10 banks. There's actually 8 big banks, but let's say 8 to 10 banks making this thing move. They're responsible for 80% of the liquidity in the market. If 5 of them are long and 5 of them are short, it doesn't matter what you do. You're going to get that. Yeah, they're going to make money because they have the power. If they're on the wrong side of the market, think of when we're position trading. If they're on the wrong side of the market, they have the power to dump 500 lots short and move this thing back down again until they're in profit and get out of their position. And then the other bank goes, I'm in drawdown. We'll dump 500 contracts long and push it back up until we're in the money. Yeah, and then we'll get out. Us poor bastards are sitting here getting stopped out long and short. So as soon as you realise what is going on and that the entire market feeds off of stops and limit orders, you then stop worrying about it and you just get in and assume you're going to be wrong. When you're right, you just got to let them run long enough to make the money. But that is a lot harder said than done, isn't it? But look at today's plan. Yeah, some days the plan works out nicely. So today's plan was they're going to take out these lows. I got it wrong this morning. I should have waited for that move. I didn't, but now I've got a chance to correct that move. You've got to know what they're up to and what their plans are. And this is where every indicator under the sun lags the market. Your job is to think like a bank and think what they are likely to do. And that is what history tells you. Yeah, every time we get one of these things, we tend to get one of those things following it. So I've seen one of those things, so I've got to assume we're going to get one of those things. When you get one of these things, you've no idea whether you're going to get another one of those things or you're going to get one of those things. Those are the difficult days. These are the easy ones in theory. Like yesterday was an easy one. Interest rates come out as expected. Pound is weak, therefore you'd expect it to weaken. Those are the ones you make your money on. The rest of the time you get chopped around to death. A lot of the time. US dollar Swiss is rejecting these highs at the minute. So we're pulling back down. What's the Euro US dollar up to? So this is probably the best one to look at, the Euro US dollar, for clues, because obviously the Euro has got no strength at the moment. So the US dollar is in charge of this completely. So this is probably the one to look at for levels. So that's the ultimate level. Anybody that's entered a long position since Friday last week, yeah, has had their stop there. They came back, retested it, double bottomed it. They came back, triple bottomed it. They came back, quadruple bottomed it. They've just taken that liquidity. Everybody for the last week who has entered a long position in the market this morning is out. And now they're taking it high. Yeah. So, think like a market maker, like a bank, right? There's a load of liquidity sitting up under here. Grab those orders and run away with them to make money. Everybody now that's entered those has got really cross, because what they've seen is their position run away just after being taken out. What do you think these people have all done today? Gone long. Where's their stop? Here. What do you think they're going to do in non-farm payroll? Yeah. Which is the inverse of the US dollar Swiss move that I'm expecting. Just makes logical sense, doesn't it? But they could equally do that. Everybody that entered short here, thinking it's the next leg down on Euro US dollar, all their liquidity is sitting there. But other than that, you've got nothing here to play with. Yeah, there's nothing there. So these are the levels we need to be concentrating on. When these levels are taken out, there's your opportunity to jump in. Whereas everybody else is going, breakout, we're going, nope. Because we're thinking like them. That's what they're thinking of doing. But then you've got the other part of psychology that thinks, well, if they think we know what they're doing, surely they're going to do the opposite to what we think they're going to do. And therefore, when they do that, they're going to do that and do an actual breakout, because we think they're all going to do a stop hunt and go the other way. Doesn't matter which way you look at it, it's psychology. At the end of the day, you've got a 50-50 chance of being right. Whether you're looking at indicators or whether you're looking speculatively at what they're planning on doing. That's your odds. Get in, get out. Pick a direction. Euro Swiss just hit ADR. It's the first ADR hit of the day. Wow. This is Swiss franc. Massive Swiss franc weakness. Look at that Euro Swiss. Pain in the backside. I'm one of those idiots. I got my club card too, Mr. Spears. Sinister and logical. Yeah. As soon as I've said it many, many times, as soon as you realise you've got no hope of knowing where the market's going, and as soon as you accept that fact, you start trading without any care, because you know that you're going to be right on some of them like I was yesterday, and you're going to be wrong on some of them like I was this morning. There's nothing you can do. You just have to accept it and move on. This is potentially going into an accumulation here. Just watching these lows. Big long wick rejection there, but we also had big long wick rejection here. It's just accumulating. So non-farm we've got is 130. So we've got what 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. We've got 4 hours basically. So I would expect the market this morning to not be particularly directional. If we can get him traded back up to the opening range highs, I might consider closing this DAX out. I'll probably be pretty much break even if we get back up to there. So I just don't think we're going to get this done today until we get non-farm. It'd be asking quite a lot for them to move all the way back up there. We're just not seeing the liquidity at this morning. It's very, very, very quiet. So I'll monitor this and manage it. I'm 1.5% down. I've banked a bit, haven't I? So I'm probably 1.2 down or something. So getting back to break even this morning is probably the goal. See if I can make a little bit of money. So yeah, I'll come back on at 120 and we'll have a look at where we are and see if we can play some non-farm. I don't go in big on non-farm payroll. Most of the time I don't trade it, but it is fun to trade it. But I'm not going in big. It's more of a trying to get one over on the market makers, I guess, is kind of why I like trading news. But very dangerous. Took the pound US dollar from the low and just closed for plus 2%. Nice out on a nice bike ride now. It's 25 degrees and beautiful here in Spain. Very nice. Yeah, it's 19 degrees in the UK today. Well, it's going to get up to 19 degrees, so I might do a little bike ride myself this afternoon. We'll see how the morning goes. If I can make my money this morning, I can have a little play around with non-farm payroll, and and then might do the same thing. Had a new bike delivered yesterday as well. Just bought a Specialized rock hopper competition, which I'm eager to get out on. Right, okay, so I'll leave you there. I'm just going to manage these this morning. Aussie dollar Swiss. I'll keep an eye on this Aussie dollar Swiss, but got some nice profit on that initial position. Kind of tempted to take it. I don't really want to hold this over the weekend. Kind of tempted to take it off the table because I've got Swiss yen on now as well. Don't know. I'm going to hold on to it for a minute. I'll make a decision a bit later on. So I'll be back at 120. We'll trade non-farm. Watch it go. If it doesn't go anywhere, it'll be a short session. But yeah, I'll have a look at non-farm payroll, see if we can trade it, and see if we can make some money. Put a little plan into place. Probably trade euro US dollar. I think that's the most logical thing. There's good levels on the euro US dollar at the minute. So that I think is probably, but we'll see where we are. So, euro US dollar, by the time we've got 4 hours to go, by the time we get to non-farm payroll, euro US dollar could be sitting down there for all we know. It could be sitting up there. We've no idea, have we, where it's going to be. So we need to look at where we are as non-farm payroll is unfolding and look for where they're going to be headed. And then make a decision based on wherever we are at the time and look for whatever the best instrument to trade is. But US dollar Swiss and euro US dollar typically tend to be the two that are the best to concentrate on. Like the spikes, or spike the likes even, as Franco says. So yeah, if you like the stream, give us a thumbs up. and I will be back at 1:20. And I'll put a note in the Telegram group, obviously, when I'm coming online and in Facebook. And then, yeah, we'll trade that this afternoon. All right, so hopefully you have a good morning. Keep your eyes on the DAX. And, yeah, I'll see you at 1:20. Have a good one.